Moving on, we'll be going on through into our ban phase as our two auto bans are going to be Bank and Clubhouse. So we could potentially see Coastline be played out yet again. Akatsuki is going to be banning out first. We'll just see what map they decide to go on through. They ban out Cafe as Villa will be banned out by Adventure Force. Coastline getting taken out of the scene here. This consulate will be taken out by Adventure Force. A very good map to take out if you're going up against Akatsuki, which leaves us with Border. So Border is a pretty small map. It's seen a lot of play in its time in Pro League. Came in about year one, season two. Actually, that is when it came in, year one, season two. But yeah, Border is pretty much it's a pretty basic map. A lot of teams know how to attack and know how to defend. There's a lot of default basic strats that work, but there's also some strats that have gone a little out there. They kind of stretch and experiment. You see teams hold CCTV when you're trying to defend armory so that the attackers can't blow up the wall with that much ease. And you'll also even see office holds depending on how the team starts to attack. So really just depends on how the teams want to hold their bomb sites. And so
Yeah,
right now we're just
Border
waiting on one more player to come on through into the lobby. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Border ends up being a comfort pick for a lot of teams because whether you're playing ranked a lot or whether you have scrim experience or anything like that, Border is a very comfortable map for a lot of teams because it's been scrimmed for so long. Everyone sort of already knows the tricks, whereas if you look at a map like Villa, people are still figuring stuff out about how to hold the downstairs sites of Villa. If you look at a map like Cafe that's been recently reworked, and Clubhouse has been recently reworked, so there aren't too many maps still left in the pool that can really be these comfort picks. You sort of have like Border and Consulate, and to some extent Bank, but a lot of teams really like to shy away from Bank, especially in the NA Challenger scene.
Yeah. One map though that I will admit, it's a pretty big favorite for Adventure Forces. We saw it throughout the qualifiers. I think they played Bank about 5 times at the very most. I know that they played it at least 3 times from what I have casted with them, and their bank was just practically unbeatable. There was only one team that I saw that was very close to even beating Adventure Force or even forcing overtime, and that team was One Vision, and that team actually was comprised of Lojack, Six, Habibi, and a couple others that I can't remember off the top of my head. But Lojax's Moss at that time was bugging out on him, so they had to bring in Adan to sub in for Lojax. And I honestly think that map could have gone differently had they had Lojax. But unfortunately for One Vision, they ended up falling to what's now known as Adventure Force in the lower bracket, and they were, 2 games away. No, that was actually the one game that was needed to put them in the lower final. So Adventure Force is here by a little bit of luck and by a lot of skill. In my personal opinion, there was obviously some luck involved with some protests that happened in the qualifier, but that's not to deter from Adventure Force's skill, as we clearly saw them show some dominance in the last few rounds against Akatsuki on Coastline. So we're going to be going into Border pretty soon. We're just waiting on one more player to enter on through into the lobby. But Border is pretty basic. It's pretty cut clear. There's some strats that have gone a little out there recently to try to shake up the map, but for the most part, ever since the I think it was season 8 that introduced it, where you have to play 3 bomb sites if you win two in a row on defense. So that was also the season I think where Cafe was taken out, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah. So we're just waiting for the teams to make sure that they're a okay. Looks to be that Akatsuki is ready and Adventure Force is ready. So I'll go ahead and throw on through into the map introduction. And I wouldn't be all too surprised if Adventure Force were able to win out the map here as well,
Yeah.
because they have a lot of momentum riding on their side. Would be very curious to see if Twitch got banned against Suzaku after the way he just completely obliterated Akatsuki on Coastline. So we'll see if there's some target bans that come on through here for Akatsuki. We'll see what the bans come on for Adventure Force first, as they'll be our first ban.
And sometimes you have one of those players that's just so good on certain operators that you do use a target ban on them. And we saw like a lot of times joystick got bans against him, whether it be Ash or Jaeger. So a lot of times, if a team is feeling that much pressure from a single player, they might ban out one of their favorite ops, and that could certainly happen here, as Akatsuki now have their ban. Adventure Force decided to take Nomad out of the picture, and that's a very common border ban because Nomad has so many rotations that she can shut down. Especially one that I like to talk about a lot is if you're playing outside of the sandwich window against an armory defense, there's the Twitch. But if you're playing outside of the sandwich window, you can place an air jab in that little rotation there, and you can cut off almost everyone who's trying to go from the sort of office side of the map to the armory side of the map. So it can be really strong.
I called it. I called it. They were going to target Ben Suzaku, and they did. Wow. Yeah, not when Zaku's off the perk 30 do you want him on that Twitch. So that's a pretty smart ban to come through for Akatsuki, and they'll end up banning out Mira. So that leaves a lot of room for the attacking squad to work with. And hopefully Suzaku isn't just an F2 warrior. Hopefully he's more than that. But he completely obliterated Akatsuki on his attack half. Wow. And Akatsuki, they ended the half 3-3, and they only won one defense round because it ended at a 7-4 scoreline.
It absolutely did. And so for the defensive bans to round out our ban phase, we have Mira and Maestro, both very common bans in general, but especially for this map as well. As Mira has some incredibly strong holds that allow her to if you have an armory defense against a Mira, it is so hard to attack into it. There's so many options that she has, and it enables the entire defensive team there. Maestro works similarly, where a lot of big strategies can get shut down by a Maestro, especially if you can see through smoke for a smoke plant. Another very popular armory strategy for attackers is to go for the smoke plant, and of course, Maestro Evil Eyes see through them. So
Attackers need to
I'm
locate
not
and
surprised
defuse as
whatsoever
many
to see
bombs
those
as
two
they
bans
can.
coming through. And as we turn our attentions toward the lineups they have now, we don't see anything too strange across the board. Adventure Force, they really like the Valkyrie and they're going to stick with it. They also bring a Nazi again and the Elysian, but there is an IQ on the side of Akatsuki, so the effects of those will be mitigated, at least to a certain extent.
So our first bomb site here for Adventure Force, we're going to be hitting on Thorn's Armory Lockers and Archives.
New feed active.
We have Suzaku back on the Jaeger, which he's been traditionally played no matter what team he's on, whether it was Least Wanted in the last season's qualifiers, and now Adventure Force, otherwise known as the Butt Cheek Bandits, which is what they played through in the qualifier. So we'll see what comes of it for Adventure Force here on Border, as this is another map that's pretty basic. It's like Coastline, everybody knows how to attack it and how to defend it, and it favors, in my personal opinion, it's a map where teams can be very aggressive. Because if you look at Pro League and you see how Dark Zero really got their butts handed to them against Luminosity, that game was something else. It was a 7-1 win for Luminosity. And Luminosity plays so aggressive. They just thrive on aggression. So if you're aggressive and you're able to make it work, all power to you. And we'll see how Adventure Force managed to handle their defense here.
When you have a standard map that's played so many times, like Oregon, and which is now out of the picture, of course, and like Border, then you start to see some teams resort to really aggressive and unpredictable plays because, of course, if you play standard, well, everyone is going to know what you do, and it comes down to who can get this, calculated execute down properly. But if you play for the aggression, then you can start seeing individual plays start to matter a little bit more, and you can catch your opponent off guard. That's exactly what we're happening so far, as the armory wall's already taken down, and it's only a minute and 45 seconds left on the clock, as Drip actually gets the first pick on the Cryogen, so that is the Bandit down. So unfortunately, they won't have that gun. The MP7 is pretty good, but the Bandit battery should already be down. Otherwise, there's not much left to trick either, since the armory wall's open too.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where that buck fell off. It's gonna be Prod, excuse me. Oh my god! He narrowly missed the Claymore. It beeped and he got it. That's gonna be a huge pick for Breezy as he takes down Drip on the sandwich rappel. That's an absolutely massive pick and a power position to be taken down for. Now you got Benji taking down Suzaku. It's a 1 versus 4 if I'm not mistaken. So he's been picked up, and that's a huge mistake to go through. Prophecy coming in massively, takes down Throw. Breezy will be able to tack one down, but now you got to worry about another one sitting out in through half wall. It's gonna be Prophecy sitting inside of half wall, and Breezy's got to work through 3 members of Akatsuki to try to get this defuse off. starts to work his way on over towards Africa, but that's not going to be taken very lightly as Akatsuki are able to win out round number 1 here in a pretty quick fashion coming up against Adventure Force.
Yeah, that was, again, another fast round, which is what we've seen so much of throughout this entire series. A minute still left on the clock by the time we were down into that 1v3 situation. So overall, Akatsuki have certainly found their footing this time around, but it comes down to whether or not Adventure Force can really pull through and bring some of that magic they found last time. Again, a lot of it came down to their attack, as Uzumaki mentioned earlier. The scoreline for the last map was 3-3 when Adventure Force were defending, and then Adventure Force took the rest of the game, only dropping a single round. So we have to see what Adventure Force looks like when they're on attack, but their defense should definitely be a little bit better than this, because we don't normally expect teams to lose an armory defense. That's sort of the most standard of the standard that teams go to for this map.
Yeah, so hopefully the adaptation continues and proves well for Adventure Force as we saw last time. And from what we saw in this first round, we saw Akatsuki being very aggressive, just being very up in your face, winning their gunfights, winning their ones. And hopefully for, like I said, for Adventure Force, they're able to adapt and overcome that aggression that's been coming through. Because this team, Adventure Force, knows when to be aggressive. And they know that Akatsuki loves to favor the aggression. They're very up in your face. They're very, they can win the ones when they get into it.
Attackers must locate
So
and defuse a bomb.
if you're Adventure Force, try to work things out, see what you can do to try to adapt and overcome what's coming through for Akatsuki. If you're Akatsuki, try to keep up what you've been doing so far. They played that first round very well.
Defender is exposed.
Wow, that's
Speaking
a
of
huge
aggression.
pick. That's Thatcher off the board. That's gonna be a big sore spot in Drip's side. Wow, what a huge pick to come through for Cryogen, and Drip's gonna have to sit and possibly rage at his computer for the next 2 minutes, the next 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, just watch his team try to go through the motions. On the bright side, for Akatsuki, they still have Zofia, Buck, and IQ. All of those are capable of going beneath Armory, and another run out. Breezy will get a headshot onto Prophecy. So aggression after aggression for the side of Adventure Force, and this is what we've seen them excel at during the last map, and they're bringing that back here already. Now, I was going to say before, they had Zofia, Buck, and IQ left alive. Now it's only Buck and IQ, but both of them can potentially take out the bandit batteries from below. But if they decide to try to do that, Throw is right here, ready to take them out. So it's interesting to see what Akatsuki are going to be able to do. We, of course, don't know how much information they have, but it seems like they are still trying to push through this armory wall.
Yeah, the positioning really coming out for Adventure Force right now, especially on that late drop coming through for Breezy. Challenging to toss in some flashbangs to try to blind off Cryogen, but Cryogen's backed off, I believe, over towards half wall. Now Suzaku's going to go for a run through, but no, a foolish run, and that'll be the death of Suzaku very poorly. I don't even know why he attempted that. I think he might have tried to rush the thermite charge, but went to the doorway. Other than that, that's a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting someone to be watching that angle, which at this level of play, you got to be expecting that, because when a Thermite starts to place down an exothermic charge, he is super vulnerable, so of course his team's going to cover. Talon's going to get a headshot throw, will refrag, and now Prod will take the head off of Breezy. Now we're down to Prod in a 1v2. Can he find the 2 other kills to make it a 3k defense, or 3k offense? Instead. But no, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, as Euphoria immediately flanks around, goes through the metal detector, and takes him out. So Adventure Force, with on the back of some aggression that we know and love, they're going to be able to take the second round of this match.
Very good adaptations coming out for Adventure Force, and already it's looking very reminiscent to how we saw it on Coastline. And if the way how Coastline worked proves true into this match, it'll be 3-3 at the end of the half for Adventure Force's defense, and then it'll just end up being another 7-4 victory. So hopefully it doesn't end up working that way for Adventure Force, but we'll see what ends up happening here for our third round as we head on over towards Ventilation and Workshop.
Very common second site for pretty much any team. Some teams have started to go customs first in order to sort of trip up their opponents, because recently teams have started to find really good strats that allow you to hold customs pretty well on defense. But it looks like we're just going to play standard here and go through the normal rotation of bomb sites. Looking at the operator lineups too, we have Adventure Force. They continue to double down on their sort of information game, as Valkyrie is going to be picked pretty much every round, and I expect that to continue because Adventure Force have gotten so many picks through runouts that are enabled by Valkyrie cams that I just don't see at any world in which they drop Valk.
Yeah, Valkyrie provides a ton of information. She's got a pretty decent gun, although it's a pea shooter. It shoots very fast, so if you have good crosshair placement, it rewards those players with the good crosshair placement. And she just provides so much intel. She has a C4 in hand. She's 2-2. She's just a very versatile operator and can be so influential to rounds for defenders.
And I'm surprised we are again. Oh, oof, Prophecy takes off the head of Throw, who tried to go for another aggressive play. I do like this adaptation from Akatsuki, however, since they sort of start to expect these runouts, and he already had his sights trained over there. Really good pick by Prophecy. He loses a good chunk of his health, but when you get a kill, it's always worth it. Especially on a Legion, who I'm actually sort of wondering why the Legion was one to peek out, because he has a gadget that only gets better as the round goes on. So for him to die in the first 30 seconds of a round means I think he only got 3 blue mines out, when his max, I believe, is 8.
Yeah, and that's a pretty big waste for Throw, but Breezy, actually, he takes down Prophecy. He's going to be injured right outside, but he'll be able to pick himself back up. Hopefully, he doesn't run into the hands of Breezy, but no, C4 is going to get tossed on out, and he'll miss his mark. And now Breezy will be stuck deep inside of half wall. He's actually going to push up very aggressively. That's a great pinch to come through as Cryogen takes down Prophecy, but now Breezy's going to be flashed inside of the bomb site. And actually, it's Cryogen.
Drop the bomb diffuser. Defender
There we go, Cryogen tacking on the second pick of the round. That'll be onto Talon. It's your Zofia and your Thermite dead with only 1 exothermic charge being utilized here. Cryogen on very low HP. Doesn't need to get too aggressive. He just needs to hide inside of sight. He'll finally be taken down by Prod right outside of the window, but before Breezy and Suzaku get massive picks onto Akatsuki, now you're leaving it all up to Prod on the buck with over a minute 15 left to go. This is a very quick round to come through for Adventure Force.
This has to be frustrating for Akatsuki too, because when you're playing up against a team like this, it can often feel like there's nothing you can do. There's so much aggression coming from every direction. How are you supposed to watch every single window? And it puts so much pressure on the attackers, and it's not you. Ooh, Prod, really good play there. He gets taken down in the end, but I love that, tossing a frag grenade out behind the server and using that to flesh out the defender right into your sights, getting the kill to secure it. Unfortunately, it was a 1v3 and Suzaku was right there to get the refrag.
Yeah, very well played coming out for Adventure Force now, and this is exactly reminiscent of how we saw it last time. We had Akatsuki win out the first round pretty candidly, and the next 2 rounds get won out by Adventure Force. So the pattern seems to stay true, and if it does, then Akatsuki will go ahead and tie things up here to make it 2 apiece. And after that, it'll be Adventure Force winning out the 5th round, making it a 3-2 scoreline, and then we'll end the half at a 3-3 split with Akatsuki winning out the 6th and final round of their attacks.
There was a time when teams generally liked to go for the bathroom teller's defense for their 3rd, but it's recently swapped over to be a customs defense is where every team would go to for their 3rd, and I think a lot of that has to do with how difficult it is for defenders to properly hold office. Whereas CCTV is a little bit easier for the defenders to hold, and those are sort of the 2 places where you're supposed to play vertically on these sites. And so a lot of teams start to favor customs, because if you keep control over CCTV, then it can be incredibly hard for the attackers to get a proper plant down. So I do like to see them go for this site. They're setting up so much utility up here as well. Suzaku with some ADSs in the corners, and they also have bulletproof cams up here. Really liking this defensive setup so far, and I think it's a proper amount of vertical control that they want to utilize for a site like this.
Yeah. So now, a lot of momentum is going to ride on the side of Adventure Force Prophecy, making sure that he doesn't get ran out on again from the east stairs. Going to be drawn out by Prod to give the A-OK that it's okay to move on over towards the south balcony. And Drep just being cautious of another aggressive run out, or what he would like to call stupid. A lot of people will call it stupid, but you know, it's an aggressive play, and if it works, it works. Yeah. So you're gonna have Breezy now rotating out from office. You have Throw down below at the bottom of these stairs, and Breezy. No, sorry. It's me, Benji, taking down a lot of HP, but Suzaku crouching on the dock and to get taken down by Prophecy entering on through. Weirdly enough, their shotgun holes and Prophecy was not taken down.
And
I like
Suzaku's
this.
gonna
I
try to
like this strategy coming out from Adventure Force, but it's really not working out.
Suzaku tried to challenge that angle, but Prophecy will find another headshot under his belt. So far, Akatsuki, they're keeping in line with the way the pattern has gone. They're looking en route to tie it up. And this is probably the bomb site where you want to be able to tie it up on as well. Is one of the harder ones for defenders to hold. And so far, it looks like Prophecy gets yet another kill. He's got 3 under his belt so far. They want to see if he can try to give him the ace. Euphoria pushing in to see if he can try to late flank through into CCTV, but there is someone watching the angle. Doesn't know if he sees him yet. Prophecy. Oh, Euphoria with a big flick manages to find the head of Prod and take him down immediately. There is someone sitting down here at the bottom of these stairs to try to cut the rotations off, and it looks like, oh no, he won't be able to do it. Only gets half of Euphoria's health down. And now the plant starts to go down. He doesn't quite know where he is. We'll toss the C4 in the wrong position. And that means the defuser goes down. Akatsuki are in the driver's seat once again. Euphoria going for a longer flank around through customs. He will find the head of Prophecy and take him down. That's a double kill for him, but Drip will find Suzaku as well, leaves us with a 3v1. Euphoria in a close melee. He hears him through the hatch, takes Benji down immediately, and now he does still have a mountain to climb as half of the defuser time has gone through. And this is a plant that the attackers can defend really easily from outside. He doesn't quite get the frag here as Drip still stays alive. Euphoria going for a long flank all the way around, and he's going to be able to get it. Drip goes down. He's got a quad kill. He doesn't look in the right spot. He thinks he's above, but Talon is lying down in the corner.
No.
That was so close for Euphoria. He got 4 kills in that clutch.
Very magnificently played from Euphoria, but just the wrong way to look. No information that Talon was hiding inside of the bomb site. I like the idea that he thought Talon was above, because usually that's what some players will do. That's the right, quote unquote, right thing to do. That's what makes the most sense. But Talon playing smart, just baiting out his team. As long as Talon stayed alive and just didn't move and didn't give away his position, he wins out that round for his team. Unless somehow, Euphoria just swings on through, checks the bomb, and checks prone. That round goes in the favor of the round doesn't go in the favor of Adventure Force, and this time it didn't. And big props to Akatsuki for being able to tie things up here yet again. And it's so interesting to me how you had with the previous matchups with Parallax and Obey. They ended up with the same scoreline, but both maps played out very differently. However, this matchup, it's been very back and forth with the same scoreline and the way the same rounds are. It's been 2-2 at the end of 4 rounds. Adventure Force loses the first round. In the 4th round, they win rounds 2 and 3. So it's nice to see that there's a bit of a pattern, and I'm really loving the back and forth coming out from both of these teams. It would have been really interesting to see Euphoria win out that round, because that would have given Adventure Force their second ace of the night.
Oh yeah.
5 seconds left.
And Euphoria was pretty close too if he decided to challenge the lower angle instead of looking above. But again, there's really no way he could have known exactly where the defender was, or where the attacker was sitting. And where Talon was is not a very common place too. Oh, this Valcam is so close to being really good, but as it stands, it only sees AC, and there's just a little bit of a pole blocking the sandwich repels. So that is a little bit unfortunate. They're not going to be able to get as much info as they want on runouts. But nevertheless, it shouldn't be too big of a deal for them, as they are defending once again the armory, and that is one of the most defensible sites. But again, Akatsuki did win their first attack against armory, so pretty much anything can happen in this matchup. And as we tick down to 45 seconds into the round, no kill has happened yet, so it is a little bit of a quieter round than usual.
Yeah. One thing that Valkyrie camera outside that'll see AC, it can spot out if someone is on repel of sandwich, but it'll only be able to slightly spot out the rope that's on the repel. But Cryogen, ooh, that would have been a pretty weird run out if you were to go through outside of the sandwich window, but it doesn't appear to be that there's anyone from Akatsuki ready to die at the hands of Cryogen. It's so weird. Okay, that happened. Cryogen gonna go ahead and take down Prod. That's a huge pick. That's the buck dead. So we're ready to trade out Cryogen's life. I love the positioning coming out here for Akatsuki. I love the coordinate. I'm sorry, Adventure Force. I'm loving the aggression, the coordination, everything working out. No throw. What are you doing? Why would you do that? That just gives things even now. It's a
thinking the
huge
same.
waste, and Euphoria will die to Benji's Claymore.
So interesting round so far, and it looks
Bomb
like we're
located
already
by
ready to go
attacker.
for the execute as smoke grenades or smoke bolts have gone out. But Cryogen! Oh, with a huge C4, and he's going to
Oh.
get taken out in the end as Prophecy gets a
Oh.
nice headshot, and the asphyxiating bolt to cut off the rotation. Breezy will try to go for it anyway, tosses out the C4. Suzaku gets the kill onto Prophecy. Instead, C4 is a little bit late, but it's not needed at the very end anyway. Suzaku's taken down to about 10 health overall, and now we're down to a 2v2, but Ali, that's Drip getting one kill onto Suzaku. That's a headshot, and
No.
ooh, pushing around the corner, getting a second one as well. Breezy goes down, and Akatsuki win their third round so far, and it looks like we're heading toward a 3-3.
They actually lined up for Breezy there at the end. He actually ended up downing the IQ. If only he landed the headshot onto the Thatcher. If only he landed the headshot onto the Thatcher. Oh, that's got to sting right there for Breezy on the Mozzie. Maybe if he had the Ronnie, it's a different story. I personally believe that on maps such as Border, the Ronnie is a little bit more useful than the Commando. Just in that situation, because you're fighting very aggressive angles and you're fighting very close quarters. Fire rate is king in this game, especially with the one-shot headshot mechanic. And the faster your bullets are, the more likely you are you're going to win out your gunfights, no matter the damage that you output. So I think that if he had
Defenders,
the
protect your
Ronnie in
bombs
that
from being
situation,
defused by
I think
attackers.
he wins out that gunfight because he downs off with IQ entering in on through from Benji. And then he ends up potentially, possibly fragging off Drip, entering on through, who was already on about half HP. So I also think that if he didn't waste that C4, it would have been a little bit more of a different story. But only time will tell in it in a different world. But right now we're sitting at a 3-2 scoreline here. We're on the last round for Adventure Force's defense with Akatsuki's attacks. Hopefully for Adventure Force, they're able to
10
lock things up at a
seconds
3-3 here. But if you're on Akatsuki, you really want to see this game
5
push
seconds
to
remaining.
4-2 and try to get yourself closer to those 3 points.
Attackers
Yep, and
objective
looking
is
at
to
the
locate a
defensive
bomb and
lineup, we have a
defuse it.
Kaid now, so that's a bit of a change from the last time.
New camera feed
So
up
the main
running.
thing about Kaid on this site is that it sort of prevents the attackers from getting an easy kill on the utility of a bandit that blocks the armory wall from below, because it's a lot harder for, say, a buck to open up the floors and find the Kaid Electroclaw instead of bandit batteries, which are huge and bulky. They do have an IQ, and that's going to be able to help Akatsuki find those Electroclaws even from below, but there's also always a chance that there might just be one of those floor bars in the way that to prevent him from shooting it. But that's sort of one of the main reasons why Kaid is brought over here. And you can also juggle between Kaid's Electroclaws and the bandit batteries to pull off some really good trick plays. We'll see which strategy these guys decide to do. It looks like Kaid is set up right behind the half wall, and so I think they are going for an extended trick strategy.
What?
Ooh, it seems like Prophecy.
Oh, that
Prophecy
scared me.
does get one. He almost gets the second as Suzaku just blind firing through the door. Takes him down to about a third of his health.
Suzaku getting pretty heavily injured and deep inside of half wall, but that's going to be traded out now with Throw as Suzaku rotates on through. Throw with a swift one-tap onto Prophecy with the TCSG in hand. So aiming things out, and that's the capital off the board. A pretty big impact frag. As free fire's coming out through from Throw. Underneath, he's
Defender
going to be
has
taken
left
down,
the
but
area of
no!
operation.
What? Wow.
A bomb
Okay,
has been located.
3v2 now for Akatsuki. What a magnificent play to come through from Breezy.
Yeah, that was huge, and a Claymore to trade it out as well. So there's things going back and forth, but at the end, Akatsuki do win out on that trade, and now Suzaku is still held up inside here, and Benji going for a peek through the metal detector, not going to get the kill, however. Is Suzaku playing this close
Oh.
angle, but they know about it. Talon immediately peeks around the corner and pre-fires that angle. Euphoria tries to go for it. He just needs to... No, it doesn't look like he's not going to... It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it, as Benji flanks around through, all the way through offices and takes him out in the back. So really good sort of play by Akatsuki there, holding angles and flanking around, covering all their bases. It's exactly what you want to do in a 3v1. And that means Akatsuki, they've broken the streak. They are now 4-2 when we switch sides. And now here is the telling tale. As Adventure Force, they have to go onto their attack and we need to see what Suzaku decides to play now that he can't play Twitch. Remember, Twitch was banned at the beginning, target banned no less, because Suzaku just got headshot after headshot, getting a full clutch, a 1v5 with it as well. There are so many things that he did with that F2, and he won't be able to this time. So we'll see how Adventure Force cope with it.
Yeah. Big props to
Defenders,
Akatsuki
protect
for
your bombs
finally
from being
breaking the
defused by
curse.
attackers.
And they put themselves up at a pretty good not a disadvantage, obviously. They put themselves at a good advantage. So now they're up two rounds over Adventure Force. And they'll be on defense now. You got Drip on the Valkyrie. You have a lot of intel being used here with the yokai drones, the black eye cams, and the cardiac sensor coming out from Prod. A lot of fragging power coming out from Prophecy on the Jaeger, and then you have Benji on the Smoke. Meanwhile, on the attacking side, you've got some nades coming out from Cryogen on the Puck. You have smokes coming out from Euphoria, as well as the asphyxiating bolts. And your entries are going to most likely be Cryogen and the Zofia of can't really make out that name right now, but yeah. You have your two support players coming out from the Thatcher and the Thermite.
Prod doesn't look like he's going to commit to any sort of run out. And Drip, that's actually a pretty good Valcam over there, able to see if anyone's trying to push through the armory wall. A couple shots traded back and forth, mostly to open up barricades instead of actually trying to get kills. But they do whiz by a couple heads in the meantime. Now Euphoria already taking position onto AC, which is a pretty strong one for the attackers, and he's going to find less of a challenge here than he would if it was an armory defense, since the defenders here have to split their attention between the first and second floors here. As Prophecy staring at a drone with a camera. It's an interesting right there, but Benji forced to rotate out of ventilation, as the attackers are already starting to make their moves, starting to get a little bit of map control.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Yeah, first minute burned off, and so far no damage dealt to anyone. Or as I say that, that's going to be an easy pick for Talon to take down Breezy. That'll be an immediate refrag from Throw and almost a 2K. Exactly, it will be. Throw going pretty massive here on the Zofia. Crowdgen attacking on the third, but oh, Throw getting so close to taking down Prod. And now Crowdgen going to watch the cross. It should be an easy pick, and yes, it will. C4 gets tossed on through. A 2K coming out for Drip. Now a 1 versus 2 between Euphoria and Throw. And oh my god, 3 massive picks for Drip, but he's up above. I don't know if Drip is aware of this, but it clearly appears to be that he's aware of Euphoria. Now he's going to be starting to rotate down the metal stairs. Drip in a 1 versus 1 from a 1 versus 4 now. He's in a pretty good spot with full health, a lot of time to work with. Euphoria, I believe he does have full utility working with him, but this is a really tough situation and a pretty massive throw to come through for Adventure Force. Now
Yeah,
these asphyxiating bolts, asphyxiating bolts to get tossed on out to try to prevent Drip from moving on to Drip.
Adventure Force are really probably feeling bad about that, because they were in the driver's seat, but Euphoria will just barely manage to take the kill onto Drip, who peeked all the way around through the customs door right here. And so that was a pretty good kill by Euphoria, and that was really close by Adventure Time. Just one different thing happening in Akatsuki's favor, and they would be 5-2 instead of 4-3, and that is quite a different scoreline. But so far as we've seen, Adventure Force, they were pretty far ahead during the beginning of that round, and that just goes to show again how strong this team is on attack. Suzaku didn't really pull off too many things during that, so maybe the F2 ban really worked out on Akatsuki's favor, but we'll have to see as more rounds go on. Maybe he just got picked off really early in that round and wasn't able to do too much. But as we head up to Armory and Archives, we're going to see a little bit of a switch on defense. We have a pretty good
Defenders,
Valk
protect
play,
your
and
bombs
there's a
from being
dock
defused
as
by
well
attackers.
for some ACOGs. I think we might see a little bit of spawn peaks from Akatsuki. They have been known to be a pretty aggressive team. Not quite as aggressive as Adventure Force has been, of course, but it is still definitely in the cards, especially when they're running an operator like a dock.
Yeah. I'm very impressed at how Drip managed to compose himself and win out there, get very close to winning out that 1 versus 3. I'm sorry, the 1 versus 4, but oh my god. If that was a 1 versus 3, he ends up winning that round for Akatsuki and putting those score sheet at a 5-2 split. Wow, what a round coming out from Drip, but unfortunately just not able to win out that round.
Bomb located by
Hopefully
attackers.
for Adventure Force, they're
Attackers
able
are
to work
moving
out
to
the
defuse
kinks
bomb.
that have been plaguing them with their attacks. And that last round really bodes a lot of confidence and a lot of opportunities now to open on through for Adventure Force. So Akatsuki going to try to get more aggressive now as time goes on. And this matchup has really just been about aggression on aggression. It's just been like, like two typhoons or two giants really just fighting against each other. Now, I honestly think that a lot of people didn't expect for this kind of gameplay to come out of Adventure Force.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't expect it either. But they have definitely shown up so far as Prod challenging an incredibly long angle over here. He is going to play in office and try to shut down any offensive push that happens over there pretty much alone. I believe there's no one else over here to help him out. But it seems like it seems like Adventure Force are content to just sort of ignore the office side of the map and play around CCTV and Armory. They've already forced Talon off of this angle over here with a couple of holes in the floor. It doesn't seem like anyone from Akatsuki are deciding to rotate around downstairs. The C4 does not go off. Someone must have shot it in mid-air as the... it looks like he's going to try to get an extra thermal charge down, but the bandit tricking is working really well. And unfortunately, the armory wall will stay closed for now.
Was that all? Was that both of the exothermic charges?
I think it was.
Oh my god, a C4 and a massive pick coming through for Drip and Talon throw, and Euphoria will bite the dust. Flash is coming on through. Talon finally getting taken down by Suzaku, who will now be downed, I believe, from the bandit battery since he goes on low HP. No, Breezy being able to open up the armory wall. Suzaku in a really tough spot to get picked up. It's going to be a really tough task for Adventure Force to pick up Suzaku, but if they are able to, and it looks like Cryogen is able to do just that, the Toxic Babe misses the mark. Wow. 3 versus 3 now. Prophecy will be taken down by Cryogen.
If Cryogen goes off, and now Breezy, he'll give away his position as he gets shocked by the bandit batteries over there. Meanwhile, Suzaku is playing it pretty safe, going all the way back to CCTV and trying to drone himself out. I think he's going to start watching the 90 hallway with that drone as well, as Drip gets yet another headshot, and Prod follows it up with his own. And now we have Suzaku in a 1v3. He potentially wins these. We've seen him do it before, but it was with the F2. Can he do it with Thatcher instead, especially on this low amount of health? It's gonna take a miracle, as one shot from anything, and Drip will be the one to finish him off. Suzaku goes down, and Akatsuki, they are still in the driver's seat. They are 5 rounds up. This is looking pretty good for them.
5v3 scoreline now, and if Adventure Force want any chance of walking away with positive here, they need to win out these next, at the very least, the next 4 rounds. At the very most, they just need to drop only 1 round and win 3 more. At least they walk away with the tie, and at least they'll end their night with 4 points. That's the least that they can. That's the second to least that they can finish off with. If they end up losing this map here on border, they only walk away with 3 points. And if they end up tying this map, they'll end up with 4. And then obviously, if they win, they have 6. So Adventure Force looking pretty decent.
Attackers
I'm sorry.
locate and defuse
Looking.
bombs.
Yeah, Akatsuki looked decent, and Adventure Force looking a little slowed down, looking a little lost. They seemingly have the right idea of what they are trying to execute, but the picks are just coming too easily to Akatsuki.
Seems like Suzaku's done trying to work through the Thatcher pick. Has 6 picks now over to IQ. So we'll see if there's any more success with IQ's guns instead of Thatcher's, and it's possible that there might be. IQ is also a 3-speed, and that might help that situation out a little bit as well. But as we see Talon, it looks like he's prepping for a run out. There's no other reason Bandit would be the one to break open this door. No, he's just looking for drones. He's going to try to pick one off, but doesn't see one at all, and just rotates back, not to sight, but to armory, directly above sight. And we always talk about how important the vertical game is here when you're playing a ventilation workshop defense. A lot of times you'll see teams almost play it the same way as they would in armory defense, except with just a couple of reinforcements and maybe one person downstairs. It
attacker spawn
obviously
diffuser
depends
has been
on the
dropped.
team's playstyle, but it's definitely not unheard of, as Cryogen tries to huck a grenade through some of the vents at the top. Will not get it, however, but Prod will take him down as he tries to rotate out, and Prod was upstairs too. That was a big angle that he found, looking down through offices, and I can definitely say Akatsuki really caught Adventure Force off guard there. Adventure Force did not expect anyone to be playing all the way over here in offices.
Yeah, Cryogen being the first pick off, that's a huge pick, and that's going to alleviate some pressure now. But Saber gets tossed out from Talon. Oh, he gets so close to winning out this gunfight. I'm not so sure who's exactly fighting against, but I believe that's Euphoria outside of the window. That's a
Defender is
what?
approaching a kill zone.
Bro loses the gunfight to Talon. Euphoria is there for the trade. It's now a 3 versus 4 for Adventure Force. This is looking really tough right now for Adventure Force right now.
Euphoria only has about 2 health as well. He's gonna die from 1 tick to anything. If he runs into a blue mine, he's gonna get taken out, but Breezy peeks around the corner really quickly, catches out Prod. And that leaves us with a 3v3, but again, Euphoria is on super low health. Prophecy is still holding down this angle, but he's gonna get flushed out, and a C4 will break open the wall, but Breezy, with inhuman reaction times, will be able to turn around and get a flick headshot as soon as he hears the sound goes off. Prophecy finds a headshot onto Euphoria, who is going for a very slow peek right behind the metal detectors, and now we're down to a 2v2. Euphoria is down, so the health totals are pretty similar now, as we see Breezy trying to start seeing what he can do. He's gotten 2 kills on the round so far. Let's see if he can turn it into more.
Breezy has really been the fragmite in this matchup, almost finding himself another pick onto Prophecy, but that's a huge pick to come through for Suzaku on the IQ. Now all you got to deal with is Benji, but he'll finally be shut down and traded out by Breezy with 3 massive, magnificent picks in this round. Adventure Force are not done yet. They'll start the bleeding momentarily. We'll end things here at a 5-4 scoreline. Moving on to round number 10. That's a huge win to come through for Adventure Force, because that doesn't mean, well, it's a huge round win for Adventure Force just because of the fact that we don't, for one, at least have a tie for the time being, because Adventure Force can come back and win these next 3 rounds, which would be crazy to see. And Drip and Prophecy have really been stellar here on this map.
So it seems like, I want to say the Twitch ban has worked out wonders for Akatsuki, as Suzaku actually sits at the bottom of the table in terms of frags for Adventure Force. That's a huge change from what we saw in Coastline. So Akatsuki have it figured out, and it seems like, aside from those really outstanding solo plays, Akatsuki do seem like the better team if we were to just take this map into account. And so we will head over to their 3rd defensive site, which will be the bathroom tellers, actually, so opting not to go for customs, even though most teams have been favoring customs recently. Looking at the way their defensive setup is going to work, Akatsuki, they're bringing the same operator lineup as they had for quite a while. And it's worked out pretty well for them so far, so they might as well continue working with it. Meanwhile, on the side of Adventure Force, they have a pretty standard attacker lineup too. Plenty of soft breach, decent amount of pushing power, and of course the Thatcher Thermite combo. Now when attacking this site, you definitely want to take control of offices first. There's almost no chance you'll be able to get a proper plant down if you just go through the downstairs here in this big open wall. So that's obviously where I expect Adventure Force to put all of their resources toward. Akatsuki are ready for it, however, and I think they have 3, maybe 4 people up here to defend it.
Yeah, so now they're really entering on through. They really want to make this rush strategy happen, as the site is bathroom tellers, and this would be a good pick to come through, but no. Dro's gonna miss the shots. I'm not exactly too sure what that was. I think that was Drip up above in the archives hatch. Breezy's making sure to see that the entrance on through into bathroom is clear. There's shotgun holes to worry about. His throw will start to sludge on through. Gonna cook a nade, potentially try to get a frag here. Tosses it on up, but he's gonna miss the mark.
It looks like he's going to go for a second nade as well. Meanwhile, Breezy takes 1 kill off the side of the map, but this frag is not going to find anyone. Drip headshots throw over on the other side as well. Prod will take out Breezy. Cryogen with a kill onto Benji as well. So back-to-back kills all across the map, refrags across the board as well. So we're down to a 3v3. Make that a 3v2 as Talon with a big C4 onto Cryogen. And now the defenders are in a pretty good position. They still have upstairs control. There are peek holes everywhere if they want to play the vertical game, and they have a one-person advantage against the attackers. Suzaku's still on the board, but we haven't seen him have much success, especially not on the Thatcher, and that's what he's playing right now. So Adventure Force really need to dig deep, otherwise they're not going to be able to win this match. They're going to have to force a tie. Suzaku finally gets a frag on the board as Thatcher, as Drip goes down, and now with 1 minute left on the clock, this match is about as aggressive as the rest we've seen. Adventure Force will try to figure out where they can play.
Yeah, you do have that sledge hole to work on through, but the shotgun holes coming up above is going to make this plant very difficult, but that's a massive pick from Suzaku. He takes down Prod. Now, all of a sudden, it's going to be up to Talon from up above. But Euphoria is able to spot out Talon through the floorboards, and it appears to be that Suzaku's going to go for a plant. He needs to, oh my goodness, Talon actually drops down through into the workshop patch as Suzaku stops the plant. We'll start to come on through again, but that's going to be over for Akatsuki here. We'll end up tied 5 apiece here. And 2 very hard fought and magnificently well played rounds coming out from Adventure Force. Wow, what a series we have from both of these teams.
Yeah, the first map was back and forth until we got to offense, or until we got to Adventure Force's attack. This one's just been back and forth all across the board. No team has been up more than 2 rounds at once, I believe. And Adventure Force are mounting a comeback. They won the last 2 rounds in a row. They're looking to win at least 1 more. 1 more will secure a tie for this map, and they won the last map, so they come away with quite a good standing at the start of the season. Meanwhile, Akatsuki are looking to get themselves on the board
Defenders,
instead,
protect your bombs from
and they
being
can do that
defused by
with
attackers.
1 win or 2. So we'll see if they end up tying it up. I honestly think this will end up going over to a tie. I think we'll end up 6-6 as we go toward Akatsuki's defense, which is all the way back up into Armory and Archives. So, sort of El Clasico in terms of defensive sites for this map, and a very defendable one at that. So I expect Akatsuki to win this round, and we'll see if Adventure Force can take the next one. But no real oddities that we see in the lineups for either of these 2 teams. Echo hasn't been brought too much today. I think we've seen 1 or 2 rounds of him during this map. But he's got a strong kit overall, so I am not surprised to see him picked.
Attackers are moving to defuse the bomb. Defender has left
So now
the
it's round
designated
11,
staging
and
area.
Talon
Defender
trying
has
to
been
go for,
discovered.
I think he was trying to find a drone outside.
Attackers dropped the
That's
diffuser.
going to lead to
Attackers have
nothing and
recovered
just
their diffuser.
expose himself, but first DMP is going to get tossed on out now. Oh, Prod almost being able to take down on, I believe that was probably Cryogen right outside of the
Attackers dropped the bomb
south
diffuser.
balcony.
Attackers recovered
But for the
bomb
time
diffuser.
being right now, it's going to be leading to no damage or picks coming out for Prod on this Echo. He'll look to rotate back on site, and Adventure Force already primed and positioned to look to go for an armory take, but with this entire wall being opened, it'll be really tough for how they want to push it, especially since Adventure Force doesn't have any smokes. What just happened? Drip from down below the east stairs will take down Breezy, but that's an easy refrag to come through for Krajen at the bottom of east. And he'll go ahead and repin the diffuser.
Yeah, and Drip has found so many really good C4s this map so far. It's very fun to see, and a lot of them came from downstairs. He's not playing pulse or
Attackers
anything.
have
This is
dropped the
just
bomb diffuser.
pure callouts
Attackers
from the
have
rest of his
recovered their
team.
diffuser.
So really good communication on the side of Akatsuki. He did get traded out by Cryogen, however. And now we're going to see Throw toss in a couple of frag grenades, although it seems like this half of the site has been cleared out already. Talon gets a headshot onto Euphoria, and that means that the defense is once again in the driver's seat. Talon still holding onto his C4. Prod finds a headshot on a Throw. The MP5 silenced. Works wonders in the hands of a good Echo player. Now Talon from below. He's ready to toss a C4 whenever someone decides to push in, and I have to believe that Prophecy's going to call it out whenever possible. Prod setting up a Yokai drone for the rest of his team as well. That's really smart. He's all the way over in CCTV. And Talon, there's the C4 we're talking about. Combined with callouts on the Echo drone, and that leaves us with Suzaku in a 1v4. He'll die to 1 tick of anything once again. A single thing of smoke canister or 1 bullet from Prophecy will take him out. And Akatsuki, they're 6-5. They've secured the tie, but can they secure the win?
For the time being, at least, Akatsuki has secured a tie. It all comes down to this final round of play, round number 12. They're going the full distance here between Akatsuki and Adventure Force. Will Akatsuki be able to pull off the win and secure themselves 3 points? or will Adventure Force be able to come back and be able to win out this last round, force the tie, and walk off with 4 points over Akatsuki's 1?
And we're heading to Ventilation Workshop. Doesn't look like Akatsuki are trying to pull off anything strange with this defense. They're going for
Attackers need to
something that
locate
most
and
teams
defuse
know how to
as many
defend,
bombs
but
as they can.
alternatively that means it's the site that most teams know how to attack. And so
Attackers have
Adventure
located
Force,
the
they
bomb.
brought plenty of soft destruction that'll help them play through the floors if they end up taking armory control. And a lot of that comes down to Akatsuki and how many resources they put to the upstairs. We see 2 of them rotating up right now, and one of them is the bandit, so it seems like they're going to use an electrified armory wall, which is a very common strategy we see for a ventilation workshop defense.
10
And
seconds
so let's
left
see
before insertion.
how this defense decides to work out. Again, no big changes in operator selection,
seconds left.
although there was only one round, I think, where we really saw Capitao get
Attackers are
utilized to his
moving
fullest
defuse the
potential.
bomb.
So I want to keep our eyes on Euphoria. I think he has the potential to really win this round for his team, and we'll see what he can do with those asphyxiating bolts. If he can properly flush out the defenders, but already Talon getting into a fight, taken down to half health, but he did take Bro down to about 10 health, so he does win that trade in the end.
Yeah. That's a pretty decent trade to come through for Talon, in my opinion. No death, but he's definitely traded off a lot more health than he was given. So now Talon will just have to go ahead and bandit trick the armory wall if he can. Although I don't see any kind of Zofia being played out here for Adventure Force. Cryogen nearly going to be taken down. I believe that was Prophecy. Fragna gets tossed on through, and Prophecy spamming on through the soft wall sitting inside a small office. We'll take down Cryogen again to about 1 shot now. This is going to be really tough for Adventure Force to fight on through, but Euphoria gets the first to pick onto Prophecy. Another one coming onto Talon. That's the Bandit dead, but the site's downstairs inside of vents, so the upstairs pressure is already relieved, but you do have Pod currently sitting inside of offices. As Drip finally turned on back now to throw, but he was already down to about low HP, so that's one of the 2 soft destructors and a lot of nades being taken down.
A C4 from Drip. He's not going to pop it quite yet. I believe he has a Valve Cam. He must have a Valve Cam
Attackers
up
have
there
located a bomb.
with one of his teammates watching it to make sure that whenever someone walks through it, but Cryogen actually spots it right there, and he pings it out for the rest of his team. So hopefully nobody on the side of Adventure Force will walk into that, no matter how much intel Akatsuki has. So good droning play by him. And that's something we don't see too much is people droning to spot out pre-placed C4s. So now Benji sitting on site. We have a lot of anchors here, but Cryogen's going to take down one as Benji goes down. And oh wow, Prod just turning the corner, immediately taking down Cryogen, bringing it down to a 2v3. But Euphoria will take out Drip and leaves us with a 1v3. Euphoria is battling the last person. Suzaku flanks around and takes him down. Prod goes down, and Adventure Force, who thought they could have done it? They took round 1, or they took game 1, and they tied game 2. This is a really strong showing for them.
Wow. They have absolutely shown a lot of people that they are more than just a meme team, that they are more than just a pickup team, and Cryogen and Euphoria really popping off a lot. Wow. Pretty much everyone, a little bit outside from Throw with those 8 assists, but I'm pretty sure a lot of those came from Goo Mines. Wow. What a showing coming out here for Adventure Force. They end their first playdate with 4 points. Very magnificently played from Suzaku on map number 1, and even so on map number 2, showing that he doesn't just need the F2 to frag out. He can do it with the L85. He can do it with Jaeger's 416C. Very well played coming out from Adventure Force on that final round. But we're going to go ahead and cut to break right now. We'll catch you guys in about 5 more minutes with an interview. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. And with me, I have Cryogen from Adventure Force coming fresh off of his 4 points against Akatsuki. First map being won was a 7-4 victory on Coastline, following up with a 6-6 draw on Border. So, Cryogen, how are you feeling after your 4 points today?
Great. It was a really tough match on Border. I was actually the one that wanted to play that map specifically because we have a lot of experience as a team. I played a comp team with every single person on my team so far. I played with Zaku, Euphoria, and Throw on Nomads like a year ago, and then 2 years ago I played on Soar with Breezy, so I had to bring it back for the one time. We really have not. I'm not even gonna lie, we have not put in work, bro. Like we basically just love like having fun, and we want to be able to play comp and have fun while playing comp. And it's not like we have like super hardcore grindy mentality, but we want to showcase our skill, of course. And honestly, I'm happy we won the first map. We got 4 points. It's worth it. It's fun.
Yeah, you guys looked like you were having a lot of fun, especially on Coastline. Suzaku getting an ace in round number 9 on Twitch down in the kitchen bomb site. Just walk me through like that in that round of what happened, because I know he was having to cover and everything, and it just came down
Let's
to a
just say
1v2.
this: there was a lot of yelling. There was a lot of like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then there was like, Zaku, you're so fucking good. There was so much stuff. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the people that play this game, like if you're not at like the comp level, you don't understand the energy. Like before the match, you're like, oh, we're gonna have fun, guys. It's whatever. And in the middle of the first match, and actually no, it was the ending of the first match. That's going on Twitter. Breezy and Zaku were just yelling, bro. Like they were so hyped. I was like, all right, boys, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good to win. You're coming up against a very tough team with Akatsuki. They have a lot of ex-CL members, especially with the big new face coming in with Prophecy, who's been pretty much tearing up everybody he meets, whether it be with the qualifiers for Raleigh or the qualifiers for the Challenger League. And now, you guys were able to win out Coastline and edge out that 3 points on the first map. So big props to you guys for being able to stick it to them and being able to win out those 7 rounds. I know it wasn't easy by any means in Border. You guys look like to have a little bit of a slower startup on your defenses. Defense didn't seem to be your big strong suit.
Our defense was very like, obviously I play very aggressive, or that's my usual play style. I guess on Coastline, I wasn't feeling it. Honestly, I told like everybody that I just wanted to kind of play, I guess a flex role, because honestly, a lot of the time, like if I'm too aggressive, I get in that mindset where like I want to get a kill, I need to get a kill, and that can really mess up my gameplay because if I die, that's a person dead, man advantage for the other team.
Right.
So I kind of had to switch my play style for Border, which I came out on top frag because I played a little bit more aggressive, but I definitely did not play as aggressive as I usually do. I know that Akatsuki is a very good team. I'm friends with pretty much all of them, and I think they're really good players, and they did a really good job on kind of keeping us pressured on Border.
That's good. Yeah, they really brought the heat, especially on their attacks. Their defenses were kind of meh. They both ended up with 4-2 at the half, 4-2 winning on defense, and then losing 4 rounds on 4-2 rounds won on attack, and then 4 rounds lost on defense. That 1 versus 4 that turned into a 1v1. What happened there?
Are you talking about Euphoria?
Yeah, you guys had a 4 versus 1, and then Euphoria was in the 1v1 at the end of it all.
I'm gonna have PTSD from that round. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had gotten the pick on the hatch, and he killed me from below, and then like it was like, oh, it's a 4v1, and everybody started peeking. I died, Zaku died, and I think Breezy died, and Euphoria was like, we're throwing. Like, what are you guys doing? And I was just like, all right, bro, just run it back, run it down metal. So he ran down metal. He's kind of, I don't even know what he's doing in sight. And then I was just like, all right, I know he's got this. I have faith. And then he peeked the hallway, and Yardy came running through customs. He's like, what's up, bro? It's over.
Yeah. So after Zaku's wild performance on attack with Twitch on Coastline, seeing that he got target banned coming into Border, I knew you guys were gonna try to put him on Twitch if she didn't get banned, but the moment you saw that she got banned, what ran through your guys' minds?
I actually originally was gonna play Twitch. I honestly wanted to play like like really aggro. Like I said, I just wanted to play like a rat. I wanted to peek everything. I wanted to have, you know, the FAMAS and just no recoil. But then I was like, I'm obviously better on Buck. I play Buck and anything else with CL, I'll play Buck aggro. But when I play CL, I know that, you know, you can't really underestimate how people are playing. So instead of being super aggressive on Buck, I decided it was a good idea to just like kind of cool off and play very reserved. So I noticed like probably for like 3 rounds that I was kind of getting wiped, and I was like, all right, I need to fix this. So I kind of reformatted, you know, how I was gonna play, and I thought about like probably 10 different ways to play, and I was just like, screw it, I'm just doing whatever I need to do. So I started droning more. I started playing more of a support role, and I thought it was a good idea to just try to help Zaku go off by droning him, because he was the one that was, you know, he's kicking ass. He was just killing everybody. So I was like, I'll drone. So I droned like I think I droned Euphoria a little bit downstairs, and I droned Zaku, and then, you know, Throw started droning Zaku, and overall, like, I wasn't super hyped to play because I honestly was so tired. And then whenever I got in the Discord and the games were about to start, everybody's like, ah, and I was like, all right, let's run it. So really, I'm
That's
really happy with my team. We
that's
always
good.
have fun. Shout out my team. They're very good players. Euphoria is the new pickup, and he honestly did superb
Yeah,
for
that's
being, you know,
actually what
new
I
to
was
the
gonna
team.
ask next. Yeah, because you guys had to drop Sour due to Sour's RL issues, and Euphoria coming in last season. He played with our bad, and he was the top performer for them. And in all honesty, Euphoria looks so much better. No shade to our bad, no shade to them, but he just looks so much better, and he
Yeah.
looks like he's in a such better place with
I
Adventure
mean,
Force.
knowing that we played before, like in all honesty, when I played for Nomads, like even though I was a sub, they still wanted me to play because like I was IGLing as Blackbeard. I had like all like I came on and there and Zaku's one of my good friends, and he was like, you know, can you sub for us? And we had fun the first game, you know. And as a sub, I was IGLing, and that's kind of what they were lacking at that point. So, you know, we decided to, you know, to do that. And then obviously I had kind of stopped playing comp at that point. I wasn't really interested as much.
Yeah, it's when you switch to
So
Fortnite.
yeah, big mistake. Um, but basically, like I've been playing the game since like Black Friday of 2016. Like I have played this game a long time. So getting back into the swing of things wasn't as hard as I expected it to be, but it's really really good knowing the people that I'm playing with, because that was one of my biggest problems was I didn't really want to join a team that I didn't know that very well. I didn't trust them very well. So knowing that I can trust all my teammates and that I've known them for a very long time really helps mentally, I think, for all of us, you know, on how we're going to play. You know, nobody really gets tilted, nobody really gets mad. We always crack jokes if we get, you know, annoyed. And overall it was a really fun match.
That's good. So that's about all the time that we have left for this interview. Thank you again, Cryo, for
Yep.
stopping by, and very big congrats on your 4 points.
I appreciate it very much. Have a great night.
You too, brother. Have a good night. So, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and cut to a short break, and we'll be right back with you. Well, apparently not. So, welcome back as Rocky. I'm sorry, that's a bit of an
Yeah.
awkward thing to say. So, yeah, welcome back. So, wow, we had 2-7-3s as our first 2 matches with Obey Alliance, winning out both of them against Parallax Gaming on Clubhouse and Cafe. And then we ended up rallying it out with a 7-4 win for Adventure Force versus Akatsuki on Coastline, and then ending it out with the draw 6-6 on Border. So very well played coming out from all the teams. Well, minus Parallax, I'm not trying to throw shade at them, but they had a very poor performance. But yeah, so very well played from all teams.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm really excited to see what happens next week, because once every team faces off against 2 other teams is where we really start being able to tell which teams are showing up, which teams are sort of not pulling their weight. And yeah, right now all we can say is that one team is better than another team, and it might even differ day to day. But yeah, I'm excited to see matches like Adventure Force run up against Obey and see who wins those matches.
Yeah. So very well played coming out from Obey against Parallax, and then we had a very fun matchup with Adventure Force and Akatsuki. So very well played to all those teams, and that's going to pretty much wrap it up for Playday number 1 here for the North American Challenge League in Season 10. So If you guys want to follow more on the Challenge League action, you can use !schedule, and that'll take you to the schedule for the rest of the matches throughout the season. So, without further ado, I'm Uzumaki. This is Azaraki. Thank you guys for sticking out with us for the past 6 hours, and we'll catch you guys next time.